I guarantee by the end of this video, you'll learn something new about Safari on iPhone. Because not only are there major changes in iOS 26, but there's tons of hidden navigations, gestures, and features that help you organize and search your tabs, use tab groups and profiles, powerful tools hidden behind menus, how to use profiles to separate work from personal and other groups. And there are some great extensions on iPhone I use I think you'll love. And everything you're seeing here is iOS 26. I've been running the beta on my main device and getting used to using Safari with liquid glass. Now, whether you just switched to iPhone or have been using Safari for years, the first thing you might want to do is customize the start page in Safari. You can tap this edit button here and you can choose what appears when you open a new tab or new window here in Safari. You can choose to show your favorites, iCloud tabs, which will pull websites that are on your other Apple devices syncing over iCloud, articles you've saved to reading list, and even recently closed tabs. You can also sync your start page across your Apple devices, including a custom wallpaper, and you can also reorder these different views. And now you'll see my favorites are right here on the start page whenever I open a new tab. Now first is navigating to your different tabs, and when you update to iOS 26, you'll see the address bar and options at the bottom have changed. There's now a 3-dot menu, and that's where you can access your All tab. This will show you all your open websites, but if you prefer how this address bar looked before, you can switch back by going to Settings, just search for the Safari app, and you'll see the search bar is now here at the bottom in Settings, and also at the bottom in many other apps. Go to your Safari settings, and we won't go into all the options that are available here, but you'll see here you can switch your tab view from compact to bottom, or move it back to the top. In that larger bottom view, you'll now have quick access to your bookmarks and all tabs view, but I'm going to show you some gestures to help you navigate those tabs as well. I'm going to keep it on compact, and you'll see now we're back to the 3-dot menu, address bar, and back button. Now let's load a web page here, and when you want to navigate across your tabs, you can tap the 3 dots and then go to your all tabs view, but as people on social media have informed me, you can just swipe up on the address bar or 3 dots, and that will also bring you to your all tab view. So you can tap the 3 dots and tap all tabs, or just swipe up on the 3 dots or the address bar to access all tabs. Now you see, depending on the website and what's behind that bar, it can be kind of hard to see sometimes, but if you tap and hold on it, you get even more options for a page. Tap and hold on the address bar, and you'll see you can quickly share this page, copy the URL, paste and search, but you can also switch to another tab group, and we'll get into that in a moment, or move this page you're looking at to a different tab group. I'll show you more about tab groups in a second, but you can also choose to close this tab or close all the tabs in the current view. In addition to tapping and holding on the address bar, you can also tap this symbol here on the left, and you get a bunch of page options. Not only are your Safari extensions here, and I'm going to be going through some of my favorites in a minute, but you can hide distracting items, turn on or off content blockers. You can also search within a page here, and so it'll bring up a search bar. You can search for a word or phrase. I'll just search for the word iPad, and then it'll jump to the different results of that search term. I can use the arrows to go between those results, tap the blue check to go back. I can also adjust the zoom level of the website if I want to make it larger or smaller using these A's. And I can tap the 3 dots here for even more options for this website. Things like request desktop site. If the site is on a mobile version and you need to see the full desktop version, that's where request desktop website comes in handy. And there's also options to add it to favorites, add a bookmark, add a quick note with a link to this URL, and more tab options. You'll also see some defaults here, like always request desktop website on this URL, use reader mode automatically, and more. You can also edit this to put certain tools at the top of the list. So maybe I want add to favorites quickly accessible. Well, I can tap the plus icon, and now that will appear here when I tap the web page options. So when I'm on a page, I can tap here, and you'll see add to favorites is now quickly accessible. So again, you can go to the 3 dots, tap edit, and then choose what controls you want easily accessible. Now, as you're navigating across a website or maybe going to multiple pages, you might want to go back to a certain page. Well, you can tap the back button multiple times, but you can also tap and hold on the back button, and that will give you quick access to all the pages you visited in this tab. So you can quickly jump back to that home page rather than tapping the back button multiple times. You also get that forward button option down here. Now, if you have multiple tab opens like I have here, you can quickly navigate between tabs by swiping on the address bar. So if I swipe right to left, you'll see now I've gone back a tab. I can swipe again and I'll go to a tab here, and you can go the other direction as well. This allows you to quickly navigate between tabs within this view. I can swipe up again to see all tabs, and there's even a tab search option. You have to scroll to the top and then pull down a little bit, and now you actually get a search tabs option. I'll search for the word app, and that's going to pull up any tabs that have that app in the page or the title. X that out and I'll see all my tabs again. If you have dozens or maybe hundreds of tabs open, that search bar can really come in handy. Now you can also manage your tabs in this view by tapping and holding on a single page. When you do that, you can copy a link, pin that tab, duplicate it, select multiple. So if you want to close multiple tabs, but not all tabs, you can select multiple and then close, move, or tap the three dots and you have even more options like pin tabs. You can also move this tab to another tab group, more on that in a second, or just close it. Of course, you can always just X on the tab to close it as well. Now, if you want to declare tab bankruptcy and just close all the tabs in this view, you can also tap and hold on this blue check at the bottom, and you'll see the option to close all these active tabs. Now, if you want to get them out of the way but not close them, adding them to a tab group is a great option, and you can do that using the three dots here in the top left. Here you can add bookmarks for all the open tabs, copy these 5 links, and maybe run a shortcut to add these to a note. You can arrange the tabs either by the title of the page or by the website. If I were to arrange by website, you'll see all the tabs that have to do with my website are now grouped together. And you can also select the tabs here and do things like move them to a tab group. Now, speaking of tab groups, I'll show you how to create and add these to a tab group in a moment, but tab groups actually live down here and you can swipe between tab groups by swiping there on the tab. You'll see I have a tab group here, which these are some tabs I was working on last month, but I just didn't want to keep open. Here's another tab of skate ramps, a tab of Hans Zimmer concert dates and things like that. And these are all tab groups that live in the background, and I can access them whenever I want, keeping tabs organized. Also, you can have unique tab groups per profile. And you'll see here, I actually have several profiles set up, and we'll get more in depth on that in a moment. Of course, going back to the tab view, if you wanted to open a new tab, you can always tap the plus icon here, and that opens your start page. Next, let's look at some of the page options you get when you're actually looking at a web page. I'm going to tap the highlights button here, and you have options like hide distracting items. If you weren't familiar, this allows you to hide certain aspects of a web page, like a newsletter sign up, or even like this featured area. I can choose to hide this, and that will move the rest of the website up. You'll see it now says one item hidden. I can tap the blue check, and now I can see the website without that element viewed. You can also tap here, revert to show hidden items. You can add this to your favorites and turn off content blockers, and run all the extensions here. Now, when you're looking at an article, tapping on that button in the address bar, you'll then see the option to show reader here at the bottom. When you tap show reader, it's going to strip away a lot of the images, menus, and other parts of the website, and just leave you with the text of the article, embedded videos, and images in a nice reader view. Tap here again, and you can choose to hide reader view, and you'll see the full website again. In reader view, you also have the option to change the font settings, change the color. You can even choose to listen to the page, and your phone will speak it to you.
After the GPT-5 event, where OpenAI...
You can also choose the readback speed and skip forward and back. I do find this listen on page sounds more natural than the previous speak screen option from accessibility. Now there's an even faster way to get to reader mode. So if you have an article here in Safari open, just tap and hold on this icon and you'll quickly jump into reader mode. Tap and hold again and you can quickly exit. Or if you want an even faster way, you can actually create a shortcut that toggles reader mode, map it to the action button, and now the action button can either toggle on or off reader mode. Hold the action button again, and I'm out of reader mode. Also, if you have an iPhone with Apple Intelligence, you can get summaries and even table of contents on pretty much any web page. This is my personal website, and there's still a table of contents here broken down into the topic headings. I don't even have headings like H2 HTML tags in this page, but it's still broken down in these different topics. You can also see the summary here. Sometimes this could be just provided by the website, but if not, Apple Intelligence on your iPhone will summarize the article for you. I'm going to tap and hold again and exit reader mode. Remember, you can add this page to a bookmark right here and quickly access your bookmarks by tapping here. And there's also a lot more here in your bookmarks view. Not only can you have your favorites and bookmarks, but you can also view your reading list, and you can also view your browsing history by clicking the clock icon here. Tap the 3 dots here at the top, and you can select websites or clear everything here in your history. Those options will also change depending on whether you're looking at your bookmarks or your history. Like here, I can choose to show my bookmarks large, and then you'll see like a rich card here, or the compact version. You can also choose to create a folder to put more bookmarks in, select multiple bookmarks, and even sort them. Now, if you want to quickly share this web page, you can tap and hold on the address bar and then tap share. That will bring up the new iOS 26 share sheet. You can also tap the 3 dots on the right, also tap share here. You can quickly text it, use these apps to send it, and you can add this article to reader view. So if I tap the glasses, that adds it to reader view, and then I can go to the 3 dots, Bookmarks, tap my reading list, and then I'll see that web page here at the top. You can also swipe across pages to remove those articles from Reader View, or also mark them red by swiping left to right. And finally, before we jump into tab groups, there is also the private browsing mode here on your iPhone. Private browsing will actually authenticate with Face ID or Touch ID when you open tabs in this area. So if I tap the plus icon, we'll just open Apple's website here. Now you'll see these are my private tabs. I'll go back to the 6 tabs I had open like normal in Safari. And if I swipe up and then go back to private, you'll see those tabs are hidden and I can unlock with Face ID. Any tabs you have open here will require Face ID to unlock. All right, now let's talk about tab groups. These are super powerful ways to organize groups of tabs, and they sync across all your Apple devices. So tab groups on iPhone, you'll have access to on your Mac and your iPad. I'll go to the All Tabs view and I can tap these 3 dots and you'll see Manage Tab Groups as an option here. You can also get that option by tapping and holding on your tabs here at the bottom, and you'll see Select Tabs and Manage Tab Groups. Jump into Manage Tab Groups and you'll see these are all the groups that I have in my personal or default Safari profile. And again, these can be different depending on what profile you're in. I'll show you my other profiles in a moment. You can edit these different tab groups, reorder or delete them. You can also tap the 3 dots next to a tab group and choose to share this group, copy all the links of the tabs within that group, rename, and again, delete. Now you can also have a tab group under the private section, and you can choose to create a new empty tab group or create a new tab group with all your open tabs. This is the setting you might want to start using right away. If you have a bunch of tabs open like this, and you want to get them out of the default view so you don't feel like you have dozens or hundreds of tabs actively open, tap and hold here, or tap the 3 dots up here in the top left, go to Manage Tab Groups, and then choose New Tab Group with 6 tabs. Now, if you don't want all the active tabs to go to that single group, then go ahead and tap the 3 dots, choose Select Tabs. I'll select all the tabs that have my website. I'll choose Primary Technology as well. That's my tech podcast with Jason Aten. You should definitely subscribe, link above and in the description. And now with just those 3 tabs selected, I'm going to tap Move here at the top, and you'll see I can move them to a tab group that already exists, or I can create a new tab group with these 3 tabs. Let's create a new tab group. You'll see it's now moved them over, and now I have the option to title this. I'm going to call this tab group Beard Articles. And now those 3 tabs have moved to this new tab group called Beard Articles. You'll see it's under my personal Safari profile. And if I want to navigate to a different tab group, I can just tap it down here. I'll see all my other tab groups listed here. Or I can tap and hold on this, go back to managing, selecting, or like add these to a bookmarks or copy the links. I'll tap it. Let me go back to my personal or the default tab view. And now just those 3 websites I had open before are still here, and the other ones are in that tab group. And what's great is you can always go back and reload all those pages. So I can go to my Hans tab group, see his concert info. It's all saved here, organized by category. I can also swipe down here to go between them. There's my skate ramps tab group, websites about black holes, which everyone has, right? Tabs I had open when we visited New York last year, and more. Quickly swiping between them, and I can go back to my personal. I love using tab groups, especially if you're doing research. Maybe it's for a trip, a project, a paper, and then you can have multiple tabs, as many as you would like, in any of these groups. And remember, those tab groups sync across iCloud. So here on my Mac, I'm in my personal profile. I can open the sidebar, and you'll see there are my same tab groups, and even the one called Beard Articles that I just created on my iPhone. It's here on my Mac. I can open it, and oh yeah, there's Primary Technology again. Listen everywhere. Tab groups are incredibly powerful, and because you can have multiple profiles in Safari, now you can have separate tab groups for your work stuff, your personal, for school, and more. Speaking of which, let's talk about profiles. Safari Profiles allows you to have different default websites, different favorite groups, different tab groups, and you can separate them by however works best. For instance, I have a profile for Primary Tech, my podcast, and if I go to that profile, you can see that there's different favorites up here, websites that I access for the podcast. Plus, I have an entirely different group of tab groups. And here for my podcast profile, I create a tab group for every episode with all the articles we discussed. This way I can always go back and see what we talked about for each episode, or I can also load that tab group. You'll see there's actually 12 tabs in this group, and I can now copy all the links of the pages that got opened in this tab group, and maybe run a shortcut like to format my podcast show notes. I actually showed that exact shortcut and 10 AI apps I use to get all my things done. You could watch that video right up here. And the nice thing is I don't have to worry about closing these tabs or managing them. They just lived in this group. I'll swipe back to the start page for this profile and have a clean slate ready to start working again. You can also adjust the start page per profile with a different background image, different favorites at the top, and more. Now, even without any tabs open, I'll swipe up again on the address bar, tap here, which is where you switch profiles, and I'll go to my beard.fm profile. Here I have different tab groups, maybe research I was doing for videos. I have a tab group of leather cases for the iPhone, and honestly, I've been moving more to tab groups rather than having a bunch of bookmarks and favorites. This way my bookmarks and favorites can just be the websites I really visit regularly all the time, and tab groups can be where I put my research, where I gather items for shopping, and more. And we can go back to my personal profile, and the tabs that we had, both in the Beard Articles tab group or the ones that I had open just in the personal default view, are still there. All right, and finally, let's talk about some extensions that you can run in Safari on iPhone. Here I'll load an article, I'll tap the little page tools icon here in the address bar. Again, I got that Apple Intelligence summary at the top, but then down here are all the extensions that you've installed. You can also tap Manage Extensions, and then you can turn on or off extensions from apps that are already on your iPhone, and you'll even see some suggestions from Apple to download. Typically, this is like downloading an app in the App Store that has an extension available here in Safari. Now, when you enable an extension, like in the Manage Extensions view, you need to swipe down, and you'll likely see this little warning icon here. That's because since extensions run from third-party apps, you need to tell your iPhone, yes, I give this extension permission to run anywhere. I typically just go all the way. Tap Always Allow, and then Always Allow on every website. If you really just want a certain extension to run on an individual website, or you have to approve it every time, you can do that. But I just do Always Allow every time. This way I can use all the extensions whenever I want. But I'm still selective as to what extensions I actually run and have active. Here are a couple of my favorites. Achoo HTML. If you ever want to view the source code of a website, Achoo HTML is the extension to get. Just tap the extension, and now I have a full view of the HTML of this web page. I can even edit it, change the font, share this, maybe save it as a text file to my computer. Great way to do that from the iPhone. I'll open my extensions again, and another great one is Noir. I use Noir on all my Apple devices, even my Apple Vision Pro, because you can force dark mode onto websites. Now you can have Noir follow dark or light mode that's on your iPhone. That's the auto setting. Or you can just say, turn on Noir because I want dark mode right now. And now, whether the website supports it or not, Noir is going to change it to dark mode. One of my favorite extensions is OverPicture. I actually use this on my Mac as well, because then I'm one keyboard shortcut away, just tapping the letter P, to putting a video in picture-in-picture. So let's say I'm playing an embedded video here on a website. This is actually a YouTube embed, and I want to keep watching this, but I also need to swipe and maybe reply to a text message. Well, if you swipe home with it playing, it's going to start playing the audio in the background, but the video's gone. So if I go back and open Safari, I'll play that video. Now I can just tap the page tools here, tap OverPicture, and it's going to force that video into picture-in-picture mode. And now I can move it around my iPhone screen. I can go back to full screen or back to Safari. I have player controls like skip forward and back, plus the timeline here to scrub through. And now I can do whatever I want, like going to Apple Podcasts and following primary technology. Then I can tap this symbol here and it'll bring me back to Safari right here on the web page. Then if you want even more controls over video playback in Safari on iPhone, another great extension is called Vidimote. Vidimote brings up these tools, which also has a picture-in-picture view. So if you just want one extension and you just want to use Vidimote, that will give you the picture-in-picture option. But also Vidimote will give you speed control, so you can go all the way up to 2x speed playing any video, even if the video or the website doesn't support it. Skip forward and back, you have the scrubbing timeline here, which is a little easier to use than the one actually on the video. Full screen, AirPlay, mute or unmute. Also a nice little feature in iOS 26. This was on the Mac for a long time, but now you can actually mute tabs that might have audio or video playing individually. That also lives here under the page options, and there you can unmute or mute. The ChatGPT app on iPhone also has its own extension, which will basically make the default search when you type in the address bar go to ChatGPT. So for instance, I can ask a question here, and typically by default, when you type something into the address bar, it would have searched Google, and you will see it start trying to search Google, but then ChatGPT will take over and actually give you an answer to that question. So if you prefer the results you get from ChatGPT and web search, you can have that as the default just by using the extension and typing here in the address bar. Remember, I can go back to one of the pages I was previously navigating by tapping and holding on that back button and choosing the tab I want to go back to. Those are the extensions I use most often, but one other fun one is called Mapper. If you use Apple Maps by default, like I do, Mapper will open even Google Directions or Google Maps links in Apple Maps. So if you've searched a location in Google, and typically this would open in Google Maps, now when I tap it, Mapper will send it directly to Apple Maps instead. And that's how to master Safari in iOS 26. If you have any questions or tips for Safari that I might have missed, let me know in the comments below, and subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. Lots of more iOS 26 content coming very soon, including a review, the top features and tips you should try first, some important settings, and more. And if you want a sneak peek, I'll put a video right here where I showed 100+ features coming with iOS 26. Also getting iPhone 17s, and we'll be doing reviews of those right here on the channel. And again, if you want to listen to my tech podcast, which we'll be doing a live show after the iPhone 17 event, you can subscribe to that channel right here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.